As residents continue to scramble for clean water in Nelson Mandela Bay, national government has decided to take control of the situation to help restore water supply. It's estimated that dams will run dry in this region within 20 days. All right, so can day zero be averted? Bongiwe will be in conversation with Professor Anthony Turton, an important issue, Bongiwe.
And let's speak then to Prof. Turton, who joins us now. Prof, thank you so much for your time. Looking at the fact that national government has stepped in now to try and avert the crisis, is this enough to prevent day zero?
Yes, good evening to you and the listeners. Look, it's a very important intervention. You must appreciate that the Constitution of South Africa clearly demarcates the responsibility between different government departments and different tiers of government. So it's actually not possible for one government department to interfere in the activities of another. And that is why Section 63 of the Water Services Act has been utilised, because that is the legal instrument by which the national government is now legally entitled to intervene in the affairs of your municipality. And this is done by appointing a water services provider, which is done in the form of Amatil Water.
Now, when of course, residents are fearing that taps could run dry in as little as 3 weeks from now, and this could prove disastrous because some are saying on the ground that alternatives are not being effectively communicated. You agree that this could potentially be a really, really serious disaster brewing there?
Oh, without any doubt, this is a massive disaster that has been unfolding at least since the Cape Town Day Zero disaster. In fact, it would appear that nothing was ever learned from the Cape Town Day Zero disaster, because Nelson Mandela Bay has merely closed its eyes and repeated it. The fact that your National Department of Water and Sanitation has now been appointed in no way implies that a solution is going to be put on the table tomorrow, because what's been coming out of the municipality subsequent to the appointment of Amatil Water is really a strategy that is designed on curtailing water use. Now, curtailing water use is not solving the problem that the infrastructure has failed. That would take probably a decade to get sorted out. So it's very much a question of too little, too late. But let's hope that at least we can prevent a total failure of the system. But the system has failed. I mean, the reason why the government department is there is because the system has failed. So it's not going to fail; it has failed.
A question of too little, too late, as you say. The municipality, I was speaking to them a few weeks ago, they also talk about the impact of the adverse conditions. They've seen the drought, and for them, that has also had an impact. But I wonder, how much of the political bickering would you say that we've seen in that municipality has also contributed to where they find themselves?
Oh, I think it's all about that. You must appreciate that South Africa is a fundamentally water-constrained economy and always has been, and therefore the prime reason why government departments and municipal departments are created is to buffer the population from nature. That's the purpose of infrastructure. So the fact that they're blaming something external simply indicates that they have failed to understand that those externalities are important. You must remember that water is not just about the stuff that we drink and the stuff that we put in our pots to cook our food with. Water is also the stuff that attracts foreign capital, creates jobs, and empowers the economy. So with the collapse of this nature, on top of the collapse of the energy system, you are likely to see a collapse of the local economy. This is almost assured. As to what extent that economy will collapse is an open question, but whether it will collapse is virtually a guaranteed situation.
At the same time, there's also concerns around the quality of water in and itself, because we did see, some of the notices for residents to boil their water before consumption. That also, in a crisis like this, does take center stage, does it not?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Once a dam starts getting below 30% of its volume, all that's left behind really is all the residue, all the mud and all the sludge and all of the dirty, nasty stuff. So they are pumping water that's of poorer quality over time. And that, of course, is now a reality that has to be dealt with. So the immediate short-term issue would be the prevention of a humanitarian crisis. Then the medium-term intervention would be how to restore systems that have failed. And the long-term intervention would be how to restore your infrastructure and how to restore investor confidence, because ultimately that particular part of the country sustains a motor industry that exports products, employs lots of people, and with the collapse of the local economy, that the capacity to bring in foreign currency is also going to be felt across the country. So it's a national crisis as much as it is a local crisis.
At the same time, they've got to deal adequately with that issue of water leaks that they've been battling for years.
Oh, yes, if there were no water leaks, then they would have probably 40% of their water available. The water leaks in that area are something in the order of about 40%. So certainly that's an exacerbating factor, and that's the first thing to repair. But that should have been repaired years ago, not at the end of a crisis, rather to curtail a crisis.
Prof, climate change is a reality and the municipality is also battling it as well. And in the absence of good rain and adverse weather conditions, how do they even begin to fix this particular problem, to avert this looming day zero?
Well, I don't believe that they can avert a looming day zero. I believe they are in day zero. They are living the day zero scenario already. Day zero is a kind of fictitious thing that one wants to use just to focus your attention on a problem. But the fact is that there is already a day zero, because there are parts not only of Nelson Mandela Bay, but there are parts of the rest of the country that don't have water. I live in the Port Shepstone area, the Ugu District Municipality area, and we don't have water for days on end, and parts of KZN haven't had water for weeks, even months on end. So day zero is a national crisis. It's not a question of a looming crisis. We are deep in that crisis at the moment now. And just as recently as a week or two ago, the local municipal officials were still squabbling about rejecting assistance from the national government. So, that's how that shows the lack of technical understanding of just how grave the situation is.
Urgent intervention is needed there, as you say, Prof. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Certainly do appreciate it. That is UFS Centre for Environmental Management Professor Anthony Turton talking to us about that crisis, that water crisis in the Nelson Mandela Bay.